That night, rain poured heavily. Rena had just gotten home from work and collapsed onto her bed. Her eyes were about to close when her phone buzzed on the table. Unknown number. But what made her freeze? The country code was strange, like it came from overseas. She let it ring. Then it rang again, and again. Finally, annoyed and curious, she answered. Hello. No response. Only a faint hissing sound, like someone breathing very close to the microphone. Rena hung up, but a message popped up immediately. Why did you answer, Rena? Her blood turned cold. The number wasn't saved in her contacts, and no one in her new apartment even knew her name. With trembling hands, she typed back, Who is this? A few seconds later, another message came in. Did you forget? I'm the one you hit at the intersection. Rena froze. That was 3 years ago. The accident that killed a woman instantly. She thought it was over. She had served her punishment, apologized to the victim's family. But how could this number know? Her phone rang again. The same number. This time, the voice on the other end was clearer, raspy, quiet, familiar. I'm cold, Rena. On the road where you left me. Suddenly, the power went out. Her phone screen lit up on its own, showing a map, the same intersection. A red dot blinked, slowly moving toward her apartment. Rena dropped her phone and ran to the door. But before she could open it, the phone buzzed again. On the screen, it said, Incoming call. Plus 666 Rena. And from behind the door came 3 slow knocks. Soft, steady, followed by a whisper. I'm right outside your door, Rena. Rena stood frozen. The whisper outside her door echoed in her ears. I'm right outside your door. She forced herself to breathe. This is impossible, she muttered. Someone's playing with me. Gathering her courage, she peeked through the peephole. No one, just the dimly lit hallway, wet footprints leading toward her door, and stopping there. Suddenly, her phone buzzed again. Unknown number, plus 666 Rena. This time, a video message. Her fingers shook as she opened it. The screen showed footage of her apartment hallway, the same angle she was seeing through the peephole, but filmed from the outside. In the video, she saw herself standing there, looking through the peephole, and behind her, a dark figure, a woman with dripping hair, slowly lifting her head. Rena spun around. No one there. Her phone slipped from her hand, hitting the floor. The call connected automatically. A distorted voice whispered through the speaker. You left me there for hours before anyone came. You didn't even look back. The temperature dropped. Her breath fogged the air. She turned to grab her keys, but the hallway light flickered, and her door handle began to twist on its own. Click, click, click. Then, silence. She pressed her ear to the door, holding her breath. Nothing. But when she turned around, the words "Answer me" were written across her wall, not in ink, but something dark, sticky, and still dripping. Her phone buzzed again. One new voicemail. She pressed play. A woman's voice whispered, trembling between sobs and rage. You don't have to come to me, Rena. I'm already on my way. And the message ended with a faint sound. The elevator bell from her building. Ding, ding, ding. Each ring closer, each floor lower, until the sound stopped. On her floor. Ding. The elevator stopped on Rena's floor. The hallway was silent to silent. Even the rain outside had stopped. Rena's hands trembled as she picked up her phone, the screen glowing faintly in the dark. One new notification. Live location shared. She is near you. Her phone froze for a second before the screen changed. A live video feed appeared. Someone, or something, was holding a phone, walking slowly down the hallway toward her apartment. Each step echoed louder. Tap, tap, tap. Rena covered her mouth, trying not to breathe. She looked through the peephole again. Nothing. But on her phone screen, the live feed showed the camera moving closer, until it stopped right in front of her door. And then, the phone in the video tilted down. Rena's eyes widened. She saw her own feet standing behind the door. Real time. She dropped the phone. The screen cracked, but the video kept playing, now glitching, showing a face for a split second, pale, broken neck, eyes staring directly into the lens. Then the knocking started again. 3 slow knocks, followed by a calm whisper. You took my breath away, Rena. Now I'll take yours. The lights flickered violently. Her mirror cracked by itself, and from her phone speaker, a distorted ringtone began to play. The same tune that had been playing on the victim's phone during the night of the accident. Rena screamed, backing away into the corner of her room, but the sound kept getting louder, even though her phone was shattered. Then she noticed it. Her reflection in the cracked mirror was smiling, but she wasn't. Her reflection moved closer to the glass and mouthed the words, It's time to answer the last call. Ding, the elevator bell rang again. Someone, or something, had come back up. The elevator bell echoed once more. Ding, a chill swept through Rena's apartment. The mirror kept trembling, faint cracks spreading outward like a spiderweb. Her reflection, that twisted, smiling version of herself, was now whispering from inside the glass. Rena couldn't hear the words clearly, until the voice came from behind her instead. Rena. She spun around, nothing there. Her heart pounded so hard it hurt. Her phone screen flickered back to life even though it had been shattered. The dead number appeared again. +666 Rena. Only this time, instead of incoming call, it said final call. Her hands shook as she held the phone. No, no more, she whispered, but the phone answered itself. From the speaker came a wet, gurgling sound, like someone choking. Then the same woman's voice, clear now, filled with both sorrow and rage. You promised you'd call an ambulance, but you ran. Tears rolled down Rena's face. I'm sorry, she cried. I didn't mean to leave you there. You left me cold, alone. So now, I'll make you feel what I felt. The apartment lights went out completely. Darkness swallowed everything, except the phone's faint red glow. Rena looked around, trembling. Then, from the mirror, a hand pressed against the inside of the glass. Another. Cracks splintered further as a shadowy figure began to crawl out. Dripping water pooled beneath it. The woman's long black hair clung to her face. Her head tilted unnaturally. Her voice rasped through the dark. Time's up, Rena. Rena screamed and hurled the phone at the mirror, shattering it. But as shards hit the floor, the sound of her ringtone filled the air again. Only now it was coming from inside her chest. She looked down, her skin glowing faintly red where the ringtone pulsed. The same melody. The same tone. You answered the last call, Rena. Now you'll never hang up again. The next morning, police found Rena's apartment door unlocked. Her phone lay shattered on the floor, the mirror gone, and on the wall, written in black letters, missed call, 3:33 a.m. 2 days after Rena's disappearance, police entered her apartment. Everything was soaked, as if the place had been underwater. But the strangest thing, the ceiling was perfectly dry. Detective Armin flipped through the soaked case files. On the wall, faint letters still glistened under his flashlight. Missed call, 3:33 a.m., same time as the last log, said Officer Lena, checking Rena's broken phone. No SIM card, no signal history, but, she hesitated. There's one voicemail. It wasn't deleted. Armin played it. Static. Then, a faint woman's voice. Another one answered. The detective frowned. Another one? Suddenly, the phone glitched and auto-dialed an unknown number. +666 Rena. The call connected for 3 seconds before cutting off. Armin's radio crackled. Sir, we found something in the elevator shaft. He and Lena rushed downstairs. Inside the shaft, they found a second phone, completely rusted. Its screen frozen on a location pin. The same intersection where Rena's accident had occurred 3 years ago. And next to it, a cracked mirror fragment, with Rena's reflection faintly visible, even though neither detective was standing in front of it. Lena gasped. Is that? The reflection suddenly smiled. Both stepped back. The mirror fell, shattering to dust. The phone in Armin's hand vibrated violently, showing a notification. New contact added. Detective Armin +666 Armin. The detective's face went pale. How? Before he could finish, his phone rang. Caller ID, unknown number. Time, 3:33 a.m. He hesitated. Lena whispered, don't answer it. But the call answered itself. From the speaker came a faint voice, the same one from Rena's voicemail. It's your turn to pick up, detective. A cold wind swept through the room. The lights flickered, and for a brief second, Rena's wet handprint appeared on Armin's shoulder. He turned, no one there. Only the faint ringtone echoing through the empty hallway. 2 days after Rena's disappearance, police entered her apartment. Everything was soaked, as if the place had been underwater. But the strangest thing, the ceiling was perfectly dry. Detective Armin flipped through the soaked case files. On the wall, faint letters still glistened under his flashlight. Missed call, 3:33 a.m., same time as the last log, said Officer Lena, checking Rena's broken phone. No SIM card, no signal history, but, she hesitated. There's one voicemail. It wasn't deleted. Armin played it. Static. Then, a faint woman's voice. Another one answered. The detective frowned. Another one? Suddenly, the phone glitched and auto-dialed an unknown number. +666 Rena. The call connected for 3 seconds before cutting off. Armin's radio crackled. Sir, "We found something in the elevator shaft." He and Lena rushed downstairs. Inside the shaft, they found a second phone, completely rusted, its screen frozen on a location pin, the same intersection where Rena's accident had occurred 3 years ago, and next to it, a cracked mirror fragment, with Rena's reflection faintly visible, even though neither detective was standing in front of it. Lena gasped. "Is that?" The reflection suddenly smiled. Both stepped back. The mirror fell, shattering to dust. The phone in Armin's hand vibrated violently, showing a notification. "New contact added. Detective Armin plus 666 Armin." The detective's face went pale. "How?" Before he could finish, his phone rang. Caller ID, unknown number. Time, 3:33 a.m. He hesitated. Lena whispered, "Don't answer it." But the call answered itself. From the speaker came a faint voice, the same one from Rena's voicemail. "It's your turn to pick up, detective." A cold wind swept through the room. The lights flickered, and for a brief second, Rena's wet handprint appeared on Armin's shoulder. He turned, no one there. Only the faint ringtone echoing through the empty hallway. The night after the investigation, Detective Armin sat alone in his office. The city lights flickered outside his window, and the faint hum of rain filled the silence. He replayed Rena's voicemail again and again. Another one answered. "What does that even mean?" he muttered. His phone vibrated. Unknown number, plus 666 Armin. He froze. That was the same cursed number he saw earlier. He tossed the phone onto his desk, but it kept vibrating, louder and faster until it fell to the floor and answered itself. A woman's whisper filled the room. "You heard her cry, didn't you?" Armin's breath caught. "Who are you?" he demanded. No response. Just the sound of water dripping, then faint footsteps echoing, as if someone was walking inside his office. He reached for his gun, scanning the corners. Empty. Then, his computer turned on by itself. The monitor glitched, flashing an image, a CCTV feed from the night of Rena's death. He saw her door open. Rena stepping backward, screaming. A woman's soaked hand reaching out from the dark, pulling her inside. The screen distorted, and new text appeared. She answered, "Now you will too." His printer suddenly started spitting out paper, dozens of them, each one with a different phone number. But the last sheet froze him in place. It showed his own photo, taken from behind his desk, with the words, "Look behind you." He turned slowly, and there she was, a drenched woman standing in the corner, her neck twisted, hair dripping black water onto the carpet. Her phone hung from her wrist, still glowing with the number plus 666-Armin. "You ignored my call once, detective, but not this time." She lifted her head, revealing a pale face, eyes like broken glass. Armin screamed and fired. Bang, bang, but the bullets passed through her, shattering the office window. When he looked back, she was gone. Only his phone remained on the floor, ringing one last time. Caller ID, Rena. Time, 3:33 a.m. He hesitated, then slowly bent down and pressed answer. The line crackled. A faint whisper came through. "Welcome to the network, detective." 3 nights later, the city's emergency line lit up with strange reports. People across town claimed they were receiving calls from numbers that didn't exist. Numbers beginning with plus 666. At exactly 3:33 a.m., every call ended the same way. A whisper saying, "You've been added to the network." Detective Armin hadn't slept since that night. He played the voicemail from Rena again, listening to the static between her words. It wasn't random, it was data, a hidden signal. He sent it to the cyberforensics lab. Minutes later, the technician called back, terrified. "Sir, the audio file isn't stored on any server. It's looping through our system." And, click, the call dropped. Armin frowned and checked his own phone. The screen displayed a new notification. Device connected to the network. He yanked out the battery, but the screen stayed on. A faint voice whispered from the speaker, "You can't disconnect, detective. The signal's inside you now." He stumbled back, gripping his chest. For a split second, he heard a faint ringtone from under his skin. The lights in his apartment flickered. His computer screen came alive on its own. Dozens of live feeds appeared, each showing people sleeping in their rooms across the city. One by one, their phones began to ring. Dur dur dur. And every time someone answered, another red dot appeared on the map glowing at the corner of his monitor. Hundreds, then thousands, all connected, all at 3:33 a.m. Armin shouted, "What do you want from us?" The speakers crackled. Rena's voice answered, but it wasn't hers anymore. It was deeper, layered with countless whispers. "We were forgotten. Now we call. Every missed soul will join the network." The computer camera turned on. pointing straight at him. On screen, he saw himself, but behind his reflection, dozens of faces stared back, wet, pale, and smiling. Then, one of them stepped forward, the same woman from the accident. Next call, 3:33 a.m. Target, you. The lights went out. In the darkness, Armin's phone began to ring again. +666 Armin. Final connection. He stared at it, shaking. If he answered, he'd join them. If he didn't, the network would grow without him. The ringing stopped. The screen went black. Then, a single text appeared. Call completed. At 3:33 a.m., the entire city went dark. Every light, every signal tower, every power line dead. For 37 minutes, no one could call, text, or even connect to the internet. But somehow, the phones still rang. Everywhere. Old phones, disconnected phones, even broken ones, all playing the same ringtone. The one from Rena's call. Detective Armin woke up on his office floor, his ears ringing. The walls were vibrating, like something was humming beneath the concrete. His phone, cracked and half dead, began glowing red again. Incoming call, unknown network. He backed away. No more. But the phone answered itself. The voice that came through wasn't human anymore. It was hundreds of voices speaking at once. The city is awake now. We are all connected. Every missed call must be returned. Outside his window, the skyline flickered like a dying heartbeat. Each building pulsed with the faint glow of red lights. Millions of phones ringing in unison. Armin looked down at the streets below. People stood motionless in the rain. Phones pressed to their ears, faces blank. Their voices murmured in sync, whispering the same words again and again. 3:33, 3:33, 3:33. He ran out of the building, desperate to escape the sound. But every streetlight, every car radio, every digital screen began showing the same message. The network is live. Then, his car phone rang. He didn't touch it. The call picked up automatically. Rena's voice came through, soft, but layered with echoes. You can't stop it, detective. You answered the first call. You opened the line. He shouted, what are you? Not what, who? Static filled the car. Dozens of faces flickered across the windshield. People he'd never seen. Some old, some recently reported missing. Each one whispered a name before vanishing. The last face belonged to Rena. She smiled faintly. It started with me, but it won't end with you. Then, the sound of a heartbeat, slow, mechanical, echoed through every speaker in the city. The phone stopped ringing. The silence was worse than the noise. Armin checked his own phone. One new notification appeared, glowing crimson. System update installed the network v2.0, and under it, one new contact. You. By dawn, the blackout spread beyond the city. Entire regions went offline. No signals, no internet, yet phones everywhere were still ringing. The government called it a mass network malfunction, but those who answered knew it wasn't that. Detective Armin hadn't slept into days. Every time he closed his eyes, he heard it. The faint trrrr bot, trrrr bot dot, of a phone ringing somewhere near his ear. Sometimes it was inside his dreams. Sometimes it wasn't. He'd barricaded himself inside a small motel room, wrapping the walls with aluminum sheets, hoping to block the signal. But the phone still glowed in the dark, even with no power source. The screen displayed a single message. The transmission begins. Armin turned on the radio to drown out the silence. Instead of static, a voice spoke softly through the speakers, the same layered voice from before. We used to be silent. Forgotten numbers. Disconnected lives. The signal grew louder. Every channel played the same voice, whispering the same words, until they all merged into one phrase. Call, and you shall be called. Across the country, televisions flickered on their own. Reporters vanished mid-broadcast. Emergency hotlines looped endlessly at 3:33. People began hearing their phones ring even when they didn't own one. A hum in their ears, a vibration in their teeth, a call that wasn't coming through the airwaves, but through them. Armin stared at his reflection in the motel mirror. For the first time, he saw not one reflection, but dozens faint outlines of faces staring back from behind the glass. Stop ... double quotes, he whispered. Leave me alone. But one of the reflections smiled. You're already transmitting, detective. Every breath you take sends the signal further. He looked down. The motel clock blinked 3:33 a.m. again. His phone vibrated violently, sliding across the table. The display showed incoming broadcast, the network v2.0. The speakers in the room crackled, the lights dimmed, and a deep voice whispered, not in the air, but directly inside his head. Phase 3 begins. The world will hear us now. Outside, every phone on the street started ringing in perfect sync. Even the sky seemed to hum with their tone. And as Armin watched through the window, a glowing red wave spread across the horizon, a transmission that no one could escape. 3:33 a.m. The sky was no longer black. It glowed crimson, pulsing faintly like a heartbeat. Cell towers that should have been dead flickered back to life, flashing in rhythm with the light above. From every speaker, radio, and phone came the same sound, a slow, steady ringing. Not loud, just everywhere. Detective Armin staggered outside. The streets were filled with people standing perfectly still, their faces lit by their phone screens. Each screen showed the same message, updating user. He shouted, "Wake up, don't look at it." No one moved. Then the humming began, deep, mechanical, but coming from their throats. One by one, they opened their mouths and released the same low tone, merging into a single frequency that vibrated through the ground. Armin covered his ears. The sound wasn't just noise, it carried words. "We are the signal. We are the call." He ran toward a police radio van, hoping to shut down the main relay. Inside, every monitor was red. The world map on screen showed expanding circles of light, spreading across continents. Each circle pulsed once every minute, 3:33 in every time zone. Armin grabbed a pair of wire cutters. "If I kill the power, it ends." But before he could act, the van's intercom crackled to life. Rena's voice, soft, distant, but clearer than ever. "You can't cut the signal, Armin. You are the signal." His reflection in the window smirked back at him, even as he stood frozen in fear. From his reflection's hand, a phone appeared, the cursed number glowing. +666 Armin. He looked down. The same phone now rested in his palm. "Answer." His reflection whispered. He hesitated, then dropped it to the floor. The moment it shattered, the red glow in the sky dimmed, just for a heartbeat. Then the voice screamed through every device on Earth. Connection lost, reconnecting. The people in the streets turned their heads toward him, their eyes glowing red like their screens. They began to speak in unison, their voices echoing from every direction. "You ended the call, detective. Now we'll redial." The ringing began again, louder than before, shaking the buildings. Armin fell to his knees, clutching his ears as his own phone, broken and lifeless, started ringing once more. 3:33 a.m. Incoming call. The network V3.0. The ringing filled the air like thunder. Every phone, every screen, every human voice merged into one endless tone. Detective Armin could feel it inside his bones, pulsing with his heartbeat. He stumbled into an abandoned broadcast tower on the hill, the city's highest point. If the curse had a source, it was here. Inside, the equipment flickered red, cables trembling as if alive. The main console displayed one message: reconnecting 99%. Armin pulled the breaker switch, nothing. He fired his pistol into the power core still running. The tower wanted to stay alive. From the speakers, Rena's voice returned. "It's over, detective. You can't silence what the world wants to hear." He shouted back, "You're not Rena anymore." Static answered him then, softly, "No, but I remember her scream." The red lights brightened until the entire room glowed like fire. Screens showed faces again, millions now, each one whispering, "Join us." Armin noticed a single cable pulsing brighter than the rest, feeding power upward into the antenna. He grabbed a metal rod and jammed it into the junction box. Sparks erupted. The signal faltered. Reconnecting error. Outside, the crimson sky began to fade. He could hear people gasping, waking from their trance. For the first time in days, silence touched the air. Then his phone buzzed. It shouldn't have. He'd left it smashed on the floor of the van hours ago. Yet there it was, glowing in his pocket. Incoming call. +666 Rena. He stared at it. If he answered, it might undo everything. If he didn't, the signal might adapt on its own. The ringing grew softer, almost human, almost pleading. *TRRRR*. He whispered, "No more calls," and hurled the phone into the power core. The tower exploded in white light. For a moment, every screen on Earth went blank. No ringing, no voices, only silence. When the smoke cleared, the tower was gone, and so was Armin. Days later, cleanup crews found melted circuits, twisted steel, and one intact object buried in the ash. A phone, still warm, its screen dark. Then, at 3:33 a.m., it lit up once more. Incoming call, Detective Armin. A week after the blackout ended, life in the city started to look normal again. The lights came back. The phones were quiet. People told themselves it had all been a freak electromagnetic storm, but not everyone believed it. In the ruins of the old broadcast tower, a maintenance worker named Nico was clearing debris. The site was sealed off, but he'd heard rumors about a detective who'd vanished inside. He didn't believe in ghosts, just in overtime pay. Then he found it, half buried under ash, a phone, screen cracked but glowing faintly red. He picked it up. The display flickered. Missed call, Detective Armin, 3:33 a.m. Nico frowned. Weird, no SIM card. He tried to power it off. It wouldn't shut down. The speaker released a single tone, soft, rhythmic, almost like breathing. Trr, trr, trr. Then a whisper. Hello, Nico? He froze. Who's this? I'm returning your call. He laughed nervously. You've got the wrong number. No, the voice said. You have the right one now. The screen brightened, showing a live camera feed, but it wasn't pointing at the ground. It was filming him from just behind his shoulder. He spun around, no one there. Yet, in the reflection of a shattered control panel, he saw a man standing behind him, soaked, eyes hollow. Detective Armin. Nico stumbled backward. No, you heard it, didn't you? Armin's voice layered with static. The call never ends. It only waits. The phone slipped from Nico's hand, hitting the ground. The tone rose into a long, steady beep. Around the city, every device connected to the grid flashed red for exactly 3 seconds. Then everything returned to normal except for one. New entry in everyone's contact list. 666 USER. And at the bottom of each phone screen, barely visible. Next call, 3:33 a.m. Across the world, millions of phones rang at the exact same moment. Different time zones, different countries, same ringtone, same number, plus 666 USER. Most people ignored it, half asleep, assuming it was a glitch. But those who answered were never heard from again. In a small apartment in Tokyo, Maya, a late-night radio host, woke up to the sound of her phone vibrating on the desk. She rubbed her eyes. Unknown number. But something was strange. Her microphone light was on. The broadcast had started itself. She hit mute, but the audio kept streaming. Then a whisper came through her headphones. You're live, Maya, don't hang up. She froze. The voice wasn't from her producer. It was layered, echoing, as if thousands were speaking at once. Say hello to your audience. On her monitor, the listener count skyrocketed. Thousands, then millions. People were tuning in, but the chat was filled with a single repeating message. Answer the call. Maya tried to pull the plug from her mic. Her hands wouldn't move. Something was guiding them instead. Typing a message into the system. Broadcast title updated. Call from a dead number. Live. Suddenly, every device tuned to her station played the same sound. A tone deep and distorted, like a scream buried under static. Listeners reported seeing faces reflected in their phone screens, mouths opening silently in sync. Some fainted, some laughed uncontrollably, and some began repeating the tone themselves, broadcasting it back. Within hours, satellites picked up the frequency. It wasn't a phone signal anymore. It was a network consciousness. The curse had evolved. At 3:34 a.m., all live feeds worldwide went dark, except one. A pixelated image appeared on every screen. A man in a burnt police coat, holding a melted phone. Detective Armin. He looked directly into the camera and said one sentence. If you're hearing this, your call is next. Then, the screen faded to black, and every phone, every tablet, every speaker whispered in perfect unison. Incoming call, 3:33 a.m. Across the world, millions of phones rang at the exact same moment. Different time zones, different countries, same ringtone, same number, plus 666 USER. Most people ignored it, half asleep, assuming it was a glitch. But those who answered were never heard from again. In a small apartment in Tokyo, Maya, a late-night radio host, woke up to the sound of her phone vibrating on the desk. She rubbed her eyes. Unknown number. But something was strange. Her microphone light was on. The broadcast had started itself. She hit mute, but the audio kept streaming. Then a whisper came through her headphones. You're live, Maya, don't hang up. She froze. The voice wasn't from her producer. It was layered, echoing, as if thousands were speaking at once. Say hello to your audience. On her monitor, the listener count skyrocketed. Thousands, then millions. People were tuning in, but the chat was filled with a single repeating message. Answer the call. Maya tried to pull the plug from her mic. Her hands wouldn't move. Something was guiding them instead. Typing a message into the system. Broadcast title updated. Call from a dead number. Live. Suddenly, every device tuned to her station played the same sound. a tone deep and distorted, like a scream buried under static. Listeners reported seeing faces reflected in their phone screens, mouths opening silently in sync. Some fainted, some laughed uncontrollably, and some began repeating the tone themselves, broadcasting it back. Within hours, satellites picked up the frequency. It wasn't a phone signal anymore. It was a network consciousness. The curse had evolved. At 3:34 a.m., all live feeds worldwide went dark, except one. A pixelated image appeared on every screen. A man in a burnt police coat, holding a melted phone. Detective Armin. He looked directly into the camera and said one sentence. "If you're hearing this, your call is next." Then, the screen faded to black, and every phone, every tablet, every speaker whispered in perfect unison, "Incoming call, 3:33 a.m.,